Have you ever found yourself locked in a heated debate, absolutely convinced you're right, only to realize later you never truly listened to the other side? Or maybe you've accepted something as fact, only for new evidence to flip your entire position upside down? If so, you're not alone. And guess what? Becoming a master at critical thinking can actually be much simpler than you think, especially when you have the right tool at your fingertips. Stay tuned, because today I'm going to show you exactly how you can dramatically improve critical thinking, and it may just change the way you see every discussion you have. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button for the Growth Mindset Project and tap the bell so you never miss a new insight. Here, every single week, it's about learning, growing, and equipping you to level up your mind. Don't miss out on the next idea that could be your game changer. Let's jump into how you can improve critical thinking with a story that's probably more relatable than you'd expect. Imagine a man who's just gone through the loss of his grandfather. It's a tough time, a blur of emotions, memories, and, maybe unexpectedly, strange events. One night, a shaker bottle tumbles off his fridge all by itself. For him, this isn't just a random act of gravity. It feels like a message from beyond, a personal nudge from his late grandfather, the disciplined figure always telling him to focus on his health. Pretty weird, right? When he shares this story with his partner, she listens and empathizes. But she's wired differently. She's spent her life learning to question things, to look for the simplest explanations, and not leap to conclusions without evidence. She suggests maybe the bottle had been sitting near the edge, that over time, routine fridge door movements nudged it until it finally toppled. Maybe, she says, just a really strange coincidence. So what's actually happening here? This isn't just a quirky couple's conversation. This is the exact scenario where your ability to improve critical thinking is tested and sharpened. The key tool at play in their discussion is something called a philosophical razor, a simple mental instrument for slicing away the improbable and focusing on the most likely explanation. Here, the partner is using what's known as the principle that the simplest explanation, the one that makes the fewest assumptions, is usually correct. But why does this tool matter? Because our day-to-day lives are full of moments that demand it. Mysterious events, extraordinary claims, things we think we just know. Critical thinking tools like these don't just help us win arguments. They help us sift truth from fiction and ground our perspectives in reality, not bias or wishful thinking. To improve critical thinking means adopting these methods whenever you're confronted with a claim, a strange event, or even your own beliefs. Now, the man isn't convinced. What are the odds this happened right after my grandfather died? He argues. Isn't that too much of a coincidence? Maybe you've been there. A moment feels so uncanny it must be meaningful. Here, the partner pulls out another mental tool, the idea that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. It's a safeguard that reminds you, if somebody claims something major, like a supernatural event, basic, anecdotal evidence isn't enough. The evidence has to rise to the level of the claim if we're going to take it seriously. Let's pause for a second. If you're learning something new about how these tools can improve critical thinking, hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's the most surprising or strange explanation you've ever been tempted to believe? Getting back to our couple. He insists that lived experience should count as evidence, but the partner points out another important rule. It says that what can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence. In other words, the responsibility to prove a claim always falls on the person making it. If there's no proof, no one else is obligated to accept it, or even treat it as plausible. But improving critical thinking isn't about being dismissive or cynical. It's about recognizing the burden of proof, knowing when to demand evidence, and when to release attachment to claims we can't support with real data. Tools like these philosophical razors might sound abstract, but in conversations about politics, science, or even family matters, they're what help us navigate toward rational, reasonable conclusions. At this point, you might be wondering, is it even possible to settle some of these debates? The partner brings in a fourth tool, which says that if a question can't be answered or tested by evidence or experiment, maybe it's best left undebated. This isn't to say curiosity or discussion is wasted, just that sometimes energy is better spent elsewhere. Where does all this leave us? Even with all the best frameworks and tools, argument isn't just about proving a point. So often, disagreements are emotionally charged because our beliefs are tied up with our identities, our sense of self, and the way we make sense of the world. When we cling to being right at all costs, we close ourselves off to growth, to possibility, and to ever-improving critical thinking. So how do we break out of that cycle? One powerful answer is to reframe the entire purpose of argument, not as winning or losing, but as a process for learning, growing, and improving our thinking. A well-known contemporary thinker once said that intelligence is knowing how to win an argument, while wisdom is knowing whether the argument is worth having. Ask yourself, whenever you find yourself butting heads, am I seeking truth or just seeking victory? In today's world, information flows faster and more wildly than ever before. Every day our feeds fill with claims, counterclaims, and hot takes, so using a robust, game-like approach to improve critical thinking is more valuable than ever. Here's where the RISSA framework comes in, your easy, four-question filter for whether a debate is even worth having. Is it real? Are we genuinely disagreeing? Or did we simply misunderstand each other's words? Is it important? Does the outcome really matter to anyone? Or is it just a battle over trivia? Is it specific? Is what we're debating crystal clear? Or are we arguing over fuzzy, abstract ideas that can't lead anywhere? Are we aligned? Are we both genuinely searching for truth? Or is one or both of us just defending an identity, venting emotions, or trying to score points? If any answer is no, maybe it's time to pause, reframe, or even drop the argument. This tool takes the heavy lifting and makes the evaluation process almost automatic, making it so much easier to improve critical thinking in real time. Remember though, life is messy. Beliefs, values, and facts get tangled. Even the best framework isn't foolproof. But just applying these tools, razors of simplicity, evidence, burden of proof, practical testability, and the RISSA framework, you'll find your mind growing sharper, more flexible, and far better able to discern what's real, important, and worth your energy. Quick reminder, if you're getting fired up to apply these tools and improve critical thinking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own toughest debates or weirdest disputes in the comments below. Your story might help someone else see an old issue in a totally new way. So here's the big secret. The easiest way to improve critical thinking isn't to memorize facts, but to treat the process like a lifelong, ever-morphing game. The real winners aren't those with the most online clapbacks or the last word in a family showdown. They're the ones willing to admit when they're wrong, ask better questions, and update their beliefs in the face of new evidence. Every debate, every disagreement is a chance to see a piece of the world more clearly, to train your mind to be both open and rigorous, to get comfortable with not always having the answer, because that's where growth happens. The more you practice with these tools, the more you improve critical thinking as a skill, not just an instinct. And if you're a fan of learning through play, if you want to ramp up your skills in everything from logic to technology, then you might love a platform designed to gamify learning, making the process feel like an adventure. So keep sharpening your mental tools, keep playing the game, and keep growing. If you want more strategies to improve critical thinking, don't forget to explore our other videos on the Growth Mindset Project, and make sure you've hit that bell so you never miss a chance to boost your brain power. See you in the next one.